Welcome to the Go Pitch Win podcast, the show where entrepreneurs pitch their best business ideas to our industry leaders. Each week, one will move forward towards the grand prize, $10,000. One winner. So get ready. And now, here's your host, Greg Mercer.
Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of Go Pitch Win. I'm your host, Greg Mercer, and today I am joined by guest judge Scott Volker. Scott is the founder and host of the Amazing Seller podcast, a top-ranked business show where he helps regular, everyday people start selling products that make money on Amazon, as well as their own e-commerce store. Scott has built and helped others build 6- and 7-figure brands selling physical products and has now taught and inspired thousands of new entrepreneurs through his take action approach. Scott, what's up?
What's going on, Greg? Man, this is going to be fun. I'm excited about this.
Previously on Go Pitch Win.
Well, we want to create a lot of different products in the baby category. We are going to be making different types of products. I'm not going to just concentrate on like diaper bags, for example.
CoolNES is cool neck ear strap, and it has two functions, the face mask, and the second is a neck flap.
Which business will move forward? Find out today.
This is going to be a lot of fun. We just listened to two different brands and businesses pitch their businesses to Scott and myself. We got to ask them a whole bunch of questions. If you missed those two shows, you can go back to the past 2 days to watch them. But Rob and Ivana pitched to us NurtraBaby, and David pitched to us his CoolNES face mask and business. And they were both really fascinating businesses. They were really fun to learn about. Both of the contestants, just as overall like people and what they're doing with life, were very fascinating and super fun to learn about. So Scott, to start, can you just give the listeners, if they haven't watched the show yet about NurtraBaby, can you just give us a 1-minute recap of NurtraBaby?
For everyone to kind of, if they haven't watched that, really what they're doing is they're building a baby brand. That's what they're going after. They've already launched 2 products, or actually 1, soon to be 2, and then they want to launch 2 more with the investment if they get it. And they are really trying to create a brand around more of natural baby products that are also safer. Really, they're just going out there and trying to build that brand in that market. And they're starting with those 2 products and then soon to be 4.
Yeah, so it sounds like, I think right now they have like a baby clutch that holds diapers and wipes and whatever else. If I remember right, I think like on the way is there like a baby teething type necklace. Was that Emerald? What was it? Amber?
Yes, I believe it was. I don't know the actual terminology, but yes, it's not even supposed to be something that it goes around their neck, but it's not necessarily for teething. It's more for, I guess, calmness. Okay. Yeah, I guess that particular rock has a certain type of like natural type of acid that it lets out that helps calm the baby. So they have 1 product already in Amazon. It's only been there for a couple weeks. They've sold about 30 of them. The next product's kind of on its way. They're still working on it. They're a really cool couple. They're married, if I'm not mistaken. Rob and Ivana recently moved out of their house or apartment or wherever they were living. They bought an RV and they're just traveling around America right now while working on this business. Rob also has another full-time job, and Ivana's also a full-time student. So this is kind of like both of their side hustle. They're working on it nights and weekends and whatever they get a chance. And yeah, we're super excited to talk to us. Very fun to kind of like learn about them and their background. So it was a great show. I recommend you check it out if you haven't done so already. So Scott, tell us about the other contestant that pitched to you, David with CoolNES. Give us a little more insight of what CoolNES is all about. Well, CoolNES is all about really sun protection. It's really about how to protect your skin while playing sports or fishing or just being outdoors. And I thought it was interesting that he created this out of his own need and his own pain point. He was an ex-tennis player, and he always, was trying to figure out a way to keep his neck from getting burnt, and then also his face. So he went out there and invented something from scratch, and now has built a brand around that. And at this point, he's really trying to figure out how to get it out to the masses. And yeah, really, I mean, his mission is to go out there and bring more awareness to sun protection.
Yeah, and Dave is just an all-around hustler. He was, Prior to this, he was just a tennis coach. And he came up with this idea. He got a patent on his CoolNES face mask. He's pitched to Shark Tank twice. The guy's in 30 shops in the Southern Florida area. He's going to all these different like golf or tennis events and other stuff to really just like hustle and bring exposure to his product. So Dave is he's working on this full time, and he's just doing whatever it takes to try to make this work. Like, this is his dream. And he's just out there with just like pure hustle, just trying to make this work. So, really cool to hear about. Right now, I'll call it the original CoolNES face mask is his best-selling product. He also has a few other products up on Amazon that are doing well, but not as good as the face mask. And right now, I would say he is jumping around kind of all over the place a little bit. Like, he built the site, but then maybe realized he didn't want to, spend money trying to drive traffic to the site. He's in retail stores, but it sounds like maybe that's not really working that well. What has worked well for him is Amazon. He wants to double down on that, which I think Scott and I both agree would be a good step. But he also thinks that maybe it would be worth launching a bunch of other products under this brand, and that's going to help bring overall exposure to the CoolNES brand, and then hopefully to the face mask as well. He's also talking about potentially licensing this to like big brands. So I guess there's a lot of different avenues that he can go down. I don't know if he for sure knows what's best, but more so, like I said, just kind of like hustling to just make this thing work, right?
Yeah, he's totally hustling. And I think sometimes hustle can be good and it can be bad, right? Because in the same breath, you're hustling in a whole bunch of different areas versus hustling in the one right area. So I think that's what he struggles with. I think, we'll talk more about it, but I just think he needs to get clarity on his vision, but he's got a great product. He's got a great cause, I really think, which I think we should probably bring more awareness to. And I just think that he's got a ton of context because of his background and his history of what he's done for his, for the past 10 or 15 years. So I think he's got a great opportunity. But again, we got to look at where that focus is happening.
So before we compare these two businesses and choose which one that we think would be better, move on to the final round, let's jump back to NurtraBaby. This is Rob and Ivana's business. What do you think are some of the like the challenges that they're having, or some of the things that maybe raise red flags with you, or hurdles that you think they're about to reach?
Well, I think coming out of the gate, they might have not approached it with the mindset or the idea of how am I going to get product number one to start getting those natural sales. And I would think that you would know that number, that, you know what, I'm competing with these other bags, and you're also at a higher price point, by the way. So we definitely need to be able to get that exposure. We also need to have good pictures. But I think not estimating what they would need to do for that first product, but then immediately launching the second product without having that fully done. And the only reason why that concerns me is because if you don't give those products the amount of attention, then you're going to probably have 4 products that are just doing okay. If you get that one product to do really well, that can help support the second, third, and fourth, but we got to work on that first one. So that would be something that I would, again, that was kind of brought to my attention.
I totally agree with you, Scott. Me and you both have quite a bit of experience on Amazon, right? And one thing I think that we both know and understand is these products, especially like in the beginning, let's call it like the first 2 or 3 months, they take quite a bit of love, right? You can't, like if you build it, they will come. That doesn't exist on Amazon. You can't just put products on Amazon and assume that they're going to do excellent, like right from day one. In the early days, they take quite a bit of love and nourishment to get them selling, right? Either through like promotional coupons, you can use a platform like JumpSend for that, or through driving outside traffic to them, or through heavy PPC, or there's different ways to do it. But I mean, you need to kind of like force sales on these products in the early days. That sounds like something that they haven't done too much of. And it's not too late. They can still do that. But I had the same concern as you, as they have, this grand plan of already a whole bunch of products like in the pipeline to launch. And it's like, well, I think we're both thinking the same thing. Is like, let's make sure this first one does well. I'm sure that it can, but we need to give it like the love that it deserves to make sure it does well before, you start getting carried on with like launching a whole bunch of other products as well.
Yeah, because here's what happens, right? It's like, it's great to say that you have 4 products, and I'm a big fan of that in the same market. But the problem is you're going to start pulling money from the one the one launch that you're doing because you have to fund the other thing. Until you can start having that cash flow come through the business, or if you have just deep pockets to begin with, that's another story. But I don't want to hear that I can't do more pay-per-click, or I'm spending $100 a day and I can't continue to do that because I'm launching this other product. That's where it becomes a problem. So again, that would be my only concern, is that maybe pause those couple of products and really double down on the one or two that you think is going to really get you traction.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point there, that like the hardest part about scaling these physical products companies, especially when you're importing from China, is the cash flow, right? And the cash that it requires. And everyone has to keep in mind that when they're purchase products, it's not only the inventory costs, but there's also some costs associated with launching these products, because, those first 50, 100, 200 products, you expect to lose money probably on those first ones. In return, you're building out a listing that's going to get sales for years and years to come, but it is expensive in the early days. And then after it starts doing well, all of a sudden it requires more cash to replenish your inventory, right? So that is something that, I think Rob and Ivana need to be mindful of, and anyone listening to this show, just about like the cash forecasting required to, build up one of these companies. So let's jump over back to David's business then, CoolNES, which is the face mask that protects you from the sun. What do you think some of his challenges or difficulties are going to be moving forward?
Well, he's got a product that doesn't necessarily get searched for. I mean, it may get searched for some, but it's not like, someone is searching for a replacement part, or they're looking for that baby component, right? Baby sheets, or baby this, or baby that. They're, they're in the market for it. They're not necessarily looking for this type of product. I think we looked at it a little bit, Greg, and there are some searches, but not really. He's trying to use other products that people are buying and then having himself get in front of those people, and they may buy it. I think for him, he's already so far along, though, that he's done a pretty good job of bringing some awareness and starting to get some sales. If he was starting over again, and I think he even said this, he would probably have done it a little bit differently. And I think, again, he's not starting over, so we don't have to really talk about that. But he is in a space right now that is kind of all over the place too, because he could target golfers, he could target tennis players, he could target fishermen, he could target all these different ones, which is great. But I think, for him personally, it needs to be more of a direct focus. And then from there, you can kind of start to add those other ones to it. But I love where he's at, and I love that he's past that initial stage, because in the beginning, if he was to come to me and say, what do you think about this? I'd say, why don't you launch something right now that has some traffic and demand in that space, and then we can add your product after the fact. But he's already done it. He's a go-getter. He went out and purchased 50,000 units right out of the gate, so he had no choice. So you know what? Now you're rolling. I'd say go with it. But yeah, that's my take on David. He's a go-getter.
My favorite thing about David is he got a $100,000 commission check from a big real estate sale, and he bought $100,000 worth of this one product that he hadn't proven at all. That takes some serious guts, and I love that. I wouldn't recommend listeners of the show to do that, but I mean, it's really fun to watch people who have already done that and kind of live life vicariously through them.
It's great.
Yeah, he I think he is kind of like what I think of as like a classic entrepreneurial syndrome, which is, he has this idea, he goes all in on it, which is fantastic. And then it's like, okay, now I have to figure out how to sell this. And I think this is like the hardest part about starting out as an entrepreneur is staying focused on like one individual thing, because like I'm sure what happened is he probably like started off with like building this website, and then it didn't really get probably too much traction day one or anything, right? Because I mean, even right now when I search CoolNES on Google, like his website doesn't even show up on the first page, and I'm searching for his brand name. He has like some paid AdWords there, which gets it to show up in the top spot, but it's not even on the first page. Right. So he probably didn't have too much experience with that. He's like, okay, well, now I heard about this Facebook marketing thing. Or, I mean, he didn't say this, but he probably like experimented with that, but maybe didn't give it the love that he deserved. And then now he's like actually going to events, which sounds like it's probably working for him a little bit. Now he has found Amazon, which is working well for him, it sounds like. And now he decides that he wants to kind of double down on it. But I think it's really challenging for like young entrepreneurs or people getting started or whatever else, like to try to stay focused and give like one channel the love that it deserves. my gut feeling is probably any of these individual channels would work if you give them, you know, like the love and the attention they deserve. But I know that's one of like the hardest things, like as an entrepreneur, it's always easier to think like, okay, like if, you know, I would go for that different marketing channel or different sales channel, it would be easier there. So let me try it. Where in reality, you know, all of them will probably work, but like you really kind of need to choose one and like really go all in on it, right? And give it, you know, the attention it deserves.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you said, I mean, he's been focusing on Amazon, but he's also been focusing on retail and events and all that. And, you know, the one thing I would have loved to have heard from him and from the other contestants is really like exactly what you're going to do with that money. Not, I think I'm going to do this and I think I'm going to do this. Like you want a clear cut, like I'm going to take that 10 grand and I'm going to double down over here. You know, that's again, I think where if you don't have that vision and that plan, it's kind of hard. Then you're just kind of throwing a little bit here and throwing a little bit here. Like you said, I can almost guarantee you, if you say, I'm going to try to get a Facebook ad to convert to an offer, and that's all I'm going to spend my time on right now. I'll let Amazon keep going. I'm kind of running that, but I'm going to just focus on that for a month and get your conversions right. You can probably make it work, right? But you got to double down on something and then learn that one thing and then just really, or find someone else in your network to help you and tell them to only focus on that.
Yeah, and actually now thinking back on it, you know, after all of the pitches that we've heard, that's actually like I think a common theme in a lot of our contestants that they're not really, they won't give you like a clear plan of exactly what they're doing with the $10,000. I don't know if that's maybe because like they're scared that we won't like what their plan is, so they kind of give a couple ones or whatever else. But I totally agree. I would have loved and David did kind of say this, but he had like a few different plans. He kind of backed away from a little bit. I would have loved for him to just say, hey man, like my ACOS is great. Like I'm making money on all those sales. I just run out of budget every day because I don't have enough cash for it. Like I just want to invest $10,000 into Amazon ads. It's profitable for me. I just need to put more $1 in to get $2 out. Cool. All right. So, man, I would have, you know, I didn't want to get off topic too much on this particular show, but I would love to have like David back on just to hear about Shark Tank too. Like he's done it twice. That seems like Shark Tank seems fascinating to me. This is kind of like what inspired this particular show. So that would have been fun to learn about more as well.
I had someone on the podcast and I interviewed him and he was on and he got denied. Yeah, it was pretty cool to hear the inner workings. I did the same thing. I went totally off topic with him and I'm like, wait a minute here, let's just drill into this thing. I'm kind of curious. And he filled me in on all the details. He didn't get the deal, so he was more than happy to tell me all the details. I don't know if he was supposed to, but
you remember what podcast episode that was, Scott?
Don't. I can find it for you though, but
all right. Well, Google The Amazing Seller Shark Tank episode and it'll probably pull up, and yeah, I'm gonna have to do that after and check it out as well. It sounds like a good one. As hard as this is, Scott, only one of the two contestants that pitched to you gets to move on to the final round to be eligible for the $10,000 prize. So let's talk a little bit. Let's compare and contrast these two businesses a little bit. And let's decide which business that you would prefer to move into the final round, and ideally is a business that the $10,000 would help more, or the business you just believe has like more long-term, it's just like more long-term viable.
Here's the thing. I'm looking at this like if I was to take one of these businesses and take my own 10,000 and invest in today, who would that be? That's kind of how I'm looking at it. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't listen to all the other pitches, so I wouldn't be able to give you that answer. But if I'm taking from what we learned today from these two contestants, I would probably say right now, I would feel more confident, and not because of skills or anything like that. I think just where they are in the process. I like a lot of things about both of them, but the one that I really like is David. And the reason why I like David is because I believe that he just needs a little bit more direction and he's almost there. And I think that $10,000 can probably help him get to that place. But I put a little note in here. There's got to be direction with that. And if it was like I'm handing him 10 grand, I'm like, here's the 10 grand, but here's what you need to do with it. That's another discussion, because I would probably, do one thing with it and he might do another, or he might do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But I think he's got a great network of people in his market, because he's part of that market and he can reach out to those people. And I think he can probably land a licensing deal. I mean, let's see, Nike could pick that up. Adidas could pick it up, any of the bigger ones. So I would start looking into who can help me license. I'm not going to maybe license, but I'm going to try to find someone that does licensing and try to license mine. I can still sell mine as mine, but we're going to market it on Nike's going to license it and pay us so much a piece. Like, that's a no-brainer. So I think he's got that because he's got the patent. So that gives me like hope that there's probably more we can even do with that, with the right people. And I think just doing what he's doing, but more of what's working and doing less of what's not, and taking that 10 grand and going there. Again, not to take away from, the other contestant, but I would say David, out of these two right now, I think has the most potential for that 10 grand right this second.
Yeah, Scott, I agree with you on this one. David is a little bit more like proven, right? This recording may have came, just like a month or two, a little bit too early for Rob and Ivana. They could really nail their launch, and that product could really take off, and that would give me like a lot more confidence in their particular business. So it may have come a little bit too early for Rob and Ivana, but David's proven. Like, he's done $50,000 worth of sales. The guy went all in on this. He got some money so that he can focus on this full time for the next year. I mean, he's all in. And I like that he has a patent on this product. It seems like he really is like just on the cuffs of this thing, like really taking off, which is cool to see. Yeah, so I agree with you. I think David is the choice out of these two contestants to move into the final round.
Yeah, I mean, like you had said, it's kind of like where you're at in that process right now. And I think that they might be just a little bit early. And like you said, I think if they came here and said, we already did 25,000 in sales, we've proven it, we've gotten, that's again, a little bit more validation. But again, I think we just got to double down on what is working. And if I was to invest in a business today, it would probably be David's. But I didn't see all the other contestants either, by the way.
Right on. Well, for this one, Scott, you only have to choose which two of these move on. So congratulations to David and CoolNES. We wish you the best of luck with it. If you guys are interested in checking out either of those products, you can find both of them on Amazon. David's product is spelled CoolNES for CoolNES. Rob and Ivana's products go by the brand name of NurtraBaby. We appreciate them coming on the show and being vulnerable and transparent with us and pitching these. So if you want to help them out, that'd be appreciated. Scott, thank you very much for coming on, being the guest judge. I know you're a busy man. For you to take a couple hours out of your day to chat with us and listen to these contestants is much appreciated. So thank you very much. If you guys haven't already checked out Scott, you can find his podcast and all of his content at theamazingseller.com. As you can tell, both of our contestants were familiar with his stuff and really appreciate all the high quality content he puts out. So check it out as well. Scott, it's been fun, man.
It has been a blast as always, and I'm excited to see where this goes. So I'll be following along as well. I can't wait.
I'm excited too. All right, have a good day, and thank you very much.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Go Pitch Win podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us an honest review over on iTunes. Do you have a new business that needs seed money or a new project that you're ready to get up and going? There's a $10,000 prize for the winning pitch. So what are you waiting for? Get your pitching skills ready and apply over at gopitchwin.com. Join us for the next episode to hear more great business ideas and, of course, find out who will win the grand prize to make their business dreams come true.